Supreme Commander, a sensor operator called out. We're detecting unusual energy fluctuations from several deep ocean locations. They appear to be regular power grid variations. Regular? How regular? Naira asked, her tendrils extending with sudden interest. Precisely regular. Like a heartbeat, the operator replied. Naira's scales shifted to a deep violet of concern. In her experience, nature was rarely so precise. But the human's technology shouldn't be capable of masking anything significant, should it? Maintain current operations, she ordered, pushing aside her concerns. But increase sensor sensitivity by 30%. If these humans are hiding anything, we'll find it. As the eternal dawn continued its silent vigil above Earth, Naira Val couldn't help but wonder if perhaps the humans' greatest weapon wasn't their technology at all, but their ability to imagine victory even in the face of overwhelming odds. It was an amusing thought, but ultimately irrelevant. After all, imagination alone couldn't stop the most powerful invasion fleet in the known galaxy. Could it? Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Director Sarah Chen watched a holographic display of the Meridian Fleet with cold satisfaction. The aliens' cloaking technology was impressive, but it couldn't hide from sensors that shouldn't exist yet. They're deploying their infiltration units exactly as predicted, her Chief of Operations, Dr. James Rodriguez, reported. Cellular replicants, just like the Arcturus protocol suggested they'd use. The containment fields are ready. Sarah nodded, her expression unchanged. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for over 50 years, ever since they'd detected the first Meridian scout ship trying to hide behind Jupiter. The aliens thought they were being clever, using gravitational lensing to mask their presence. They never considered that humanity had already mastered quantum detection arrays. Status of the Lazarus grid, she asked, her fingers dancing across a haptic interface that looked far more advanced than anything the Meridians believed Earth possessed. Fully operational, James replied. All 300 quantum nodes are synchronized and ready. The moment those replicants attempt to infiltrate any major government facility, they'll find themselves walking into containment fields they can't detect until it's too late. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Meridians were playing exactly into humanity's hands. Their arrogance, their certainty in their own superiority, made them predictable. They'd spent 3 centuries perfecting their conquest protocol, never imagining they might encounter a species that had been watching them do it. Message from Luna Base. An analyst called out. The gravitational weapon platforms are charged and locked. They can disable the entire Meridian Fleet's drive systems on your command. The real Earth, the one hidden beneath a carefully constructed veneer of primitive technology, was a fortress 50 years in the making. Every satellite the Meridians thought they'd redirected was actually a dummy, while the real observation network remained invisible to their scans. Every primitive radio transmission was a cover for quantum entanglement communications that couldn't be intercepted. They're scanning the deep ocean facilities again, James noted. Their sensor sensitivity has increased by 30%. Let them look, Sarah replied. The quantum camouflage will show them exactly what they expect to see. Regular power fluctuations, nothing more. Nothing that could possibly suggest we've mastered zero-point energy generation. On her private display, Sarah reviewed the latest analysis of the Meridian Fleet. Their technology was impressive, but it was also stagnant. They hadn't needed to innovate significantly in centuries because no species had ever successfully resisted them. That was about to change. Update from Project Oracle. An analyst reported. The AI predicts a 97% chance the Meridians will launch their main invasion force within the next 72 hours. They're following their standard conquest timeline, almost exactly. Sarah's smile widened slightly. The Meridians' rigid adherence to protocol was their greatest weakness. Humanity, in contrast, had learned to adapt, to think laterally, to prepare for the impossible. While the aliens saw a primitive civilization barely mastering nuclear fission, They were actually facing an enemy that had leapfrogged several technological stages through sheer innovative thinking. All defense grid commanders, initiate final countdown protocols, she ordered. But remember, no matter what happens, no matter what the Meridians do, we do not reveal our true capabilities until I give the signal. Let them think their infiltration is succeeding. Let them think their conquest is proceeding according to plan. Supreme Commander Naira Val of the Meridian Collective stood motionless before the vast observation window of her flagship, the Eternal Dawn. Her iridescent scales shifted through shades of deep blue as she contemplated the planet before her. Terra. Earth. Such a simple name for what the Collective's advanced scouts had deemed a simple conquest. Status report, she commanded, her resonant voice carrying across the bridge without effort. Her second-in-command, strategic analyst Keth, approached with practiced precision. The humans remain unaware of our presence, Supreme Commander. Their primitive detection systems continue to track what they believe to be a series of unusual asteroid clusters. Keth's scales rippled with amusement. Their most advanced satellites have been safely redirected to observe other sectors. We are, effectively, invisible. Naira's facial tendrils curled in satisfaction. The Meridian Collective had perfected the art of conquest over 3 centuries, reducing it to a precise science. Step 1. Observe. Step 2. Infiltrate. Step 3. Overwhelm. The humans would never see it coming. Show me their defensive capabilities again, she ordered. The holographic display materialized before her, showing Earth's modest collection of military satellites, interceptor missiles, and ground-based weapon systems. Their most advanced ships were confined to their own atmosphere, or at best, their moon. Their communication systems still relied primarily on radio waves. Their energy generation remained dependent on fossil fuels and primitive nuclear fission. Peculiar, Naira mused, her scales shifting to a contemplative green. How has such an aggressive species survived this long with such limited technology? Their historical records show remarkable adaptability, Keth offered. They've survived multiple near-extinction events through sheer determination. However, their technological progress has been remarkably linear and predictable. No quantum leaps, no unexpected breakthroughs. They're exactly where our models predicted they would be at this stage of development. Naira's tendrils twitched. Something about this bothered her, but she couldn't quite identify what. The humans were precisely where they should be, technologically speaking. Every scan confirmed it. Every observation matched their models. Perhaps that was what bothered her. It was all too perfect. Launch the probe network, she commanded. I want real-time monitoring of every major population center. If they so much as launch a weather satellite, I want to know about it. The bridge crew worked with efficient precision, deploying the network of cloaked observation probes that would blanket the planet. Within hours, streams of data began flowing into the ship's analytical systems. Communications intercepts, energy signatures, military movements. Everything about human civilization was being cataloged and analyzed. Fascinating, Keth remarked, reviewing the incoming data. They spend an inordinate amount of resources on entertainment, fiction specifically. They seem obsessed with imagining scenarios of alien contact. And how do these scenarios typically end? Naira asked, her curiosity piqued. Varied outcomes. In many, they emerge victorious against technologically superior invaders through unconventional tactics. Keth's scales flickered with dismissive purple. Pure fantasy, of course. Their actual military capabilities are exactly as our scouts reported. Naira turned back to the viewing window, studying the blue-white planet with renewed intensity. Begin the infiltration phase. I want our cellular replicants in every major government within 48 hours. Standard protocol. Observe and report only. No interference until we're ready for the final phase. By your command, Supreme Commander. Keth turned to relay the orders, but Naira raised a hand to stop him. One more thing, she said. I want a deep analysis of their fiction. All of it. Every story they've created about first contact, alien invasion, space warfare. There might be insights into their psychological weaknesses. Supreme Commander Keth's scales showed confusion. Surely their fantasies are irrelevant to the conquest. Humor me, Keth. In 3 centuries of expansion, we've never encountered a species quite like this one. They're simultaneously primitive and ambitious, limited and yet surprisingly resilient. I want to understand why. As the infiltration pods began launching toward Earth, Naira couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something crucial. The humans' technology was primitive, yes, but their minds dreamed on a scale that few species dared. They imagined futures far beyond their current capabilities, invented scenarios where they triumphed against impossible odds. The massive underwater facility hummed with controlled energy as humanity's real defense systems moved into their final positions. In hidden bases across the solar system, quantum weapon platforms awakened. On the dark side of the moon, gravity manipulation arrays powered up. In orbit, satellites that appeared to be simple communications relays prepared to reveal their true nature. Director, James said quietly, the Meridian Commander, this Naira Val. She seems more cautious than their usual leadership. The infiltration units are being more thorough in their scans than we anticipated. Sarah studied the data on Supreme Commander Val. Good, she said finally. I was hoping for an intelligent opponent. It makes the lesson we're about to teach them more valuable. You think they'll actually learn from this? James asked, skepticism evident in his voice. They'll have to, Sarah replied. Because once we reveal ourselves, once we show them just how far humanity has really come, the balance of power in the galaxy will never be the same. The Meridian Collective is about to discover that while they spent 3 centuries perfecting conquest, humanity spent 50 years perfecting something far more dangerous, innovation. A new alert flashed across the holographic display. The Meridian fleet was moving into attack formation, preparing for what they thought would be a simple subjugation of a primitive world. They had no idea they were about to encounter a civilization that had turned paranoia into an art form, that had used the memory of countless fictional alien invasions to prepare for a very real one. Send the coded signal to all defense grid commanders, Sarah ordered. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. When the Meridians make their move, we'll show them why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our capacity to imagine every possible way we could lose and prepare for all of them at once. As the countdown began, Sarah Chen allowed herself to feel a moment of pride. Humanity had done the impossible. They'd hidden their true nature from a technologically advanced species for half a century, preparing in secret for this exact moment. Now it was time to show the galaxy why you should never judge a species by its apparent limitations. The trap was set, the stage was prepared, and the Meridian Collective was about to learn a very expensive lesson about underestimating humanity. Supreme Commander Naira Val watched with growing unease as her invasion fleet moved into its final attack positions. Everything was proceeding according to protocol, yet the gnawing sensation in her gut wouldn't subside. The infiltration units had successfully penetrated every major human government facility, their cellular replicants reporting nothing but the expected primitive defenses and predictable panic. All ships report ready, Supreme Commander, Keth announced. The humans remain unaware of our true presence. Their military forces are dispersed exactly as our simulations predicted. Naira's scales shifted through shades of violet and deep blue. Begin the final approach. Launch the first wave off. Supreme Commander, the sensor operator's scales flashed alarm white. Multiple energy signatures suddenly appearing throughout the system. They're everywhere. Naira spun to face the tactical display, her tendrils rigid with shock. Where moments before there had been only the expected traces of human technology, now hundreds, no, thousands, of advanced energy signatures were blossoming like stars going nova. From behind Mars, from the dark side of the moon, from deep beneath Earth's oceans, From what had appeared to be simple asteroid clusters, everywhere she looked, sophisticated weapon systems were coming online. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, Director Sarah Chen allowed herself a predatory smile. "Initiate Phase 1, she commanded. "Show them what they're really dealing with." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defense grid revealed itself. Quantum weapon platforms emerged from dimensional pockets that had concealed them from meridian sensors. Gravity manipulation arrays powered up, their effects rippling through spacetime itself. What had appeared to be simple communications satellites transformed, revealing weapon systems far beyond what the Meridians believed possible. On the Eternal Dawn's bridge, chaos erupted as system after system reported impossible readings. Supreme Commander, Keth's scales had gone pale. The infiltration units, they're all gone. Every single replicant has been contained somehow. They're reporting some kind of quantum field technology we've never seen before. Naira's mind raced. This was impossible. The humans were supposed to be centuries away from this level of advancement. Unless the power fluctuations, she whispered. They wanted us to detect them. They wanted us to think they were just regular power grid variations. Incoming transmission, the communications officer reported, his voice shaking. It's from Earth. Sarah Chen's holographic image appeared before Naira, her expression calm and confident. "Supreme Commander Val," she said pleasantly, "I believe this is the part where we discuss terms of surrender. Yours, to be specific." "Impossible," Naira breathed. "Your technology level, our scouts confirmed." "Your scouts saw exactly what we wanted them to see," Sarah replied. "We detected your first observation ship 50 years ago. Since then, we've been preparing, advancing, innovating, all while maintaining a carefully constructed facade of technological limitation. Your collective spent 3 centuries perfecting conquest. We spent 5 decades perfecting deception." As if to emphasize her point, a wave of quantum energy pulses swept through the Meridian fleet. Ship after ship reported drive system failures as carefully calibrated gravitational fields disrupted their engines. "You'll notice your ships can no longer engage their faster-than-light drives," Sarah continued. "That's just one of many technologies we developed while you thought we were still struggling with nuclear fission. We also took the liberty of analyzing and countering your cellular replication technology. Your infiltration units are currently enjoying our hospitality in quantum containment fields." Naira's tactical display painted an increasingly desperate picture. Her fleet was surrounded, outgunned, and immobilized by technology that shouldn't exist. "Why?" she demanded. "Why maintain this deception? Why not simply announce yourselves to the galaxy?" Sarah's smile took on an edge of steel. "Because, Supreme Commander, humanity has learned from its own history. When technologically advanced civilizations encounter less advanced ones, the results are rarely pleasant for the latter. We decided to skip that phase entirely. Instead of revealing ourselves, we watched, we learned, we prepared. And now, we're going to change how the galaxy works. The collective will never accept." "The collective doesn't have a choice," Sarah interrupted. "While we've been having this conversation, quantum entanglement transmitters have been delivering evidence of your invasion attempt and our true capabilities to every major power in the galaxy, including, of course, the Galactic Council." Naira's scales went ash-gray as the implications hit her. The humans hadn't just outmaneuvered her fleet. They'd outmaneuvered the entire collective on a political level as well. "Now," Sarah continued, her tone becoming businesslike, "let's discuss the immediate future. Your fleet will power down all weapons systems. You will transmit a full surrender to both Earth Command and the Galactic Council. And then, Supreme Commander, you're going to help us ensure this never happens again." "Help you?" Naira's tendrils curled in confusion. "Yes, because while humanity could simply destroy your fleet and humiliate the collective, we prefer to build rather than break. We're offering your people a chance to be part of something new. a genuine alliance of species based on mutual respect and innovation, not conquest and subjugation. As emergency transmissions from the Galactic Council began flooding in, Nyraval realized that the humans hadn't just defeated her fleet, they'd completely changed the rules of the game. In a single day, they had revealed themselves as a major power, neutralized the collective's military advantage, and positioned themselves to reshape galactic politics. And they had done it all without firing a single shot in anger. "The choice is yours, Supreme Commander," Sarah Chen said quietly. "But I suggest you choose quickly. The galaxy is about to become a very different place, and you'll want to be on the right side of history when it does." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with barely contained chaos. Representatives from 200 species filled the tiered seats, their voices creating a storm of languages as they debated the unprecedented events unfolding in the Terra system. At the center of the chamber, Supreme Commander Nyraval stood alongside Director Sarah Chen, an unlikely pair that embodied the day's shocking revelations. High Counselor Zixtal, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed deep disturbance, called the session to order. "We face an unprecedented situation," they began, their translator converting their harmonic speech. "The Meridian Collective, in violation of Council law, attempted to conquer what they believed was a pre-FTL civilization. Instead, they encountered a species that has hidden its true technological status for half a century, developing capabilities that—" They paused, crystalline surfaces shifting, "that frankly disturbed many on this council." Sarah Chen stepped forward, her posture relaxed but commanding. She wore a simple black uniform with no insignia, Earth's deliberate statement that they were beyond such displays. "Distinguished members of the Council," she began, "humanity's deception was born of necessity. Our studies of your civilizations revealed a troubling pattern. Species that openly revealed their technological advances often became targets for either conquest or forced alliance." "You speak of patterns," the Vexcar representative interrupted, their bioengineered form pulsing with aggression. "Yet you have violated the most sacred pattern of all, the natural progression of technological development. Your quantum leap advances defy all known models of civilization growth." Sarah's smile was diplomatic but firm. "With respect, Representative, those models are based on the assumption that technological progress must follow a linear path. Humanity chose a different approach. We ask ourselves, what if we could develop the technologies we imagined before building the intermediate steps? What if we could dream bigger than our current capabilities and then find ways to make those dreams real?" The chamber erupted in overlapping arguments. Some species expressed outrage at the deception, others showed fascination with humanity's methods, and a few, notably those who had suffered from meridian expansion, displayed barely concealed satisfaction. "Order." High Counselor Zixtal's harmonics cut through the chaos. "Director Chen, your species has demonstrated remarkable capabilities, but also a disturbing capacity for deception. How can this council trust a civilization that has hidden its true nature for so long?" "You misunderstand, High Counselor," Sarah replied. "We haven't hidden our true nature at all. We've shown you exactly who we are, a species that values innovation, preparation, and peaceful resolution over conflict. We could have revealed ourselves with weapons firing. Instead, we chose to prevent a war before it began." Supreme Commander Val, her scales still showing traces of shock gray, stepped forward. "I can attest to the humans' commitment to peace. When they had my fleet completely at their mercy, they offered alliance instead of destruction. They seek to build, not conquer." "Pretty words," the Vexcar representative sneered, "but you've already demonstrated your willingness to deceive. What other technologies are you hiding? What other surprises await us?" Sarah's expression hardened slightly. "Our deception was a shield, not a sword. But since you ask, yes, we have more technologies you haven't seen. Yes, we have capabilities that might surprise you. But we're here today to put all cards on the table, to use a human phrase. We're proposing a new framework for galactic cooperation. She gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing technical specifications that made several council members gasp. These are just some of the innovations we're willing to share freely with the galactic community. Clean energy generation, enhanced medical technologies, more efficient FTL drive systems. We're not here to dominate. We're here to collaborate. And if we refuse this collaboration, the question came from a shadow-shrouded corner where the Nexus Collective's representative lurked. Then we continue to exist peacefully as we have been, Sarah replied calmly. We'll defend ourselves if necessary, but we have no interest in forcing our assistance on anyone. We simply believe that the galaxy is better served by cooperation than conquest. High Counselor Zixtal's crystalline form shifted through complex patterns as they considered. What you propose would fundamentally alter the balance of power in the galaxy. The Meridian Collectives. Aggressive expansion policies have been a stabilizing force, however uncomfortable that truth might be. Stabilizing. Sarah's voice carried a note of challenge, or stagnating. How many species have had their natural development interrupted? How many potential innovations have been lost because the collective's conquest protocol values predictability over possibility? She turned to address the entire chamber. Humanity hid our advances because we had to. We're revealing them now because we choose to. But make no mistake, this isn't just about Earth. This is about every species that has ever looked at the stars and imagined something better. Every civilization that has been forced to develop along approved paths instead of finding their own way. The chamber had gone completely silent, hundreds of alien species focusing intently on the human who dared to challenge millennia of established protocol. We're not here to destroy the existing order, Sarah continued. We're here to evolve it, to show you that there are other paths to advancement than the ones you've accepted as inevitable. The question isn't whether humanity can be trusted. It's whether the galaxy is ready to imagine something better than conquest and subjugation. High Counselor Zixtal's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. You ask us to take a tremendous leap of faith, Director Chen. No, High Counselor, Sarah replied with a slight smile. We're asking you to take a leap of imagination. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to envision a better future and then work to make it real. We're offering you the chance to do the same. One standard galactic year later, Supreme Commander, now Ambassador, Naira Val stood in Earth's orbital diplomatic station, watching ships from dozens of species moving through the bustling space lanes. Her scales shifted through shades of wonder as she observed a Vexcar cargo vessel, its hull incorporating human quantum shielding technology, smoothly dock alongside a Meridian research ship, still getting used to the changes. Sarah Chen asked, joining her at the observation window. The former director now served as Earth's representative to the newly formed Galactic Innovation Council, which had gradually supplanted the old council's rigid hierarchy. Every day brings something new, Naira admitted. Yesterday, one of our colony worlds successfully tested their first quantum communication array, built entirely by their own scientists, using principles your people taught them. A year ago, I would have said it was impossible for a lesser world to advance so quickly. Sarah smiled. Because you were thinking in terms of linear progression. Once we showed the galaxy that innovation doesn't have to follow a predetermined path, everyone started questioning what else might be possible. The station's holographic displays showed similar scenes playing out across the galaxy. Species that had once been deemed too primitive for advanced technology were now developing their own unique solutions to technological challenges. The Meridian Collective's former subject worlds were transforming into innovation hubs, their people finally free to develop according to their own paths. The latest reports from the Education Exchange are remarkable, Naira said, her tendrils curling with excitement. Over 3,000 cross-species research projects initiated in the past month alone. Ideas flowing freely between civilizations that a year ago wouldn't even acknowledge each other's existence. That's what happens when you replace conquest with curiosity, Sarah replied. Though I have to admit, even we didn't predict how quickly things would change once we opened the floodgates. A small alert chimed, drawing their attention to another holographic display. It showed a remote star system where a pre-FTL civilization had just achieved their first faster-than-light communication. Instead of triggering a rush to claim or conquer them, it had activated the new first contact protocols. A joint delegation of multiple species would welcome them to the galactic community, offering knowledge and opportunity without demands. Sometimes I wonder, Naira mused, her scales shifting to a contemplative blue, what would have happened if we'd succeeded that day? If we'd somehow managed to conquer Earth before you revealed yourselves? I think you know the answer, Sarah said quietly. Your collective would have gained a single planet of seemingly primitive humans, while losing the opportunity for something far greater. Look around you, Naira. Look at what we've achieved in just 1 year by working together instead of trying to dominate each other. The observation window's view shifted to show Earth below them, but it was a very different Earth than the one the Meridian fleet had tried to invade. Massive space elevators reached into the sky, their quantum-reinforced structures defying old engineering limitations. Orbital habitats hosted millions of humans and aliens living and working together, and in the distance, the first of Earth's dimensional gateway arrays was taking shape, a project that would revolutionize interstellar travel for all species. The old council worried that our approach to technology would destabilize the galaxy, Sarah continued. They weren't entirely wrong. It did destabilize things, but instead of chaos, we got revolution. Instead of conflict, we got collaboration, all because we dared to imagine something better than conquest. Naira's scales rippled with agreement. The collective's leadership finally admitted yesterday that our conquest protocol has been officially abandoned. 3 centuries of expansion through subjugation, ended by a species that showed us a better way. Not just showed you, Sarah corrected gently. Proved it to you. That's always been humanity's approach. We don't just imagine better futures, we work to make them real. And now the entire galaxy is learning to do the same. A new alert drew their attention. Another breakthrough, this time from a joint human Meridian research team. They had successfully developed a way to adapt quantum shielding technology for medical applications, potentially revolutionizing treatment for dozens of species. That's the 300th major breakthrough this month, Naira noted, her scales showing proud gold. More than the collective achieved in a century of controlled development. Because innovation thrives on freedom and diversity, Sarah replied. When you try to control and direct it, you limit its potential. When you let it grow naturally, combining different perspectives and approaches, you get. She gestured at the view before them. A galaxy awakening to its full potential, species learning from each other, boundaries between civilizations fading as they work together to achieve what none of them could have managed alone. You get this, she finished, a future limited only by our ability to imagine it. As they watched a group of young aliens, Meridian, Human, Vexcar, and others, excitedly discussing some new idea in the station's innovation hub, Naira realized that humanity had given the galaxy something far more valuable than advanced technology. They had given them the courage to dream bigger, to reach further, to imagine futures that defied conventional wisdom. You know, Naira said, her scales showing the deep blue of profound understanding. We thought we were coming to conquer Earth that day. Instead, you conquered the galaxy, not with weapons or threats, but with something far more powerful. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Oh, hope, Naira replied simply. You showed us all that the future doesn't have to be bound by the past, that any species, any civilization, can transcend their limitations if they dare to imagine something better. Around them, the station hummed with the energy of 1,000 possibilities being born. In laboratories, academies, and research centers across the galaxy, barriers continued to fall as species learned from each other, built on each other's ideas, and reached for futures they had never dared to imagine before. Humanity had hidden their light for 50 years, preparing for a confrontation that lasted less than a day. But in doing so, they had sparked a transformation that would continue for centuries to come. A revolution not of conquest, but of imagination unleashed.